welcome to Season 2, Episode 4 of the Stop and Consider podcast. JT, how you doing, buddy?
It is unbelievable.
It's unbelievable.
We've made it this far. It's amazing. It's just absolutely amazing. Hey, we are, we're shooting this right now. It's Martin Luther King Day, so happy Martin Luther King.
Happy MLK Day.
Yes.
Or MLK Jr. Day.
MLK Jr. So happy that.
Yep.
But also a little reminder from a podcast or two back, it's also Blue Monday.
That's right, the most depressing day of the year.
Yes, which
January 19th,
actually,
the day of our Lord.
The sun is shining today here in northeast Tennessee.
Right.
So it's not as depressing.
True.
But
although it's cold.
The temperatures are quite depressing.
It's cold.
Yes, especially when you go around the corner and that breeze hits you.
Woo, dang.
Yeah. So it's like, what, about 32 today without the wind? With the wind, it's like...
Feels negative
32.
right.
But more importantly today is Dolly Parton's birthday.
Wow.
Right here, Dolly. We have Dolly as a guest.
Yeah.
here.
Hey, Dolly. It's nice to have you.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining the show.
80 years old today. Still
Wow.
looking good.
Wow.
Not all real, but looking good. But also, even more important than her birthday, our good governor here in the state of Tennessee has declared the 19th of January as Dolly Parton Day.
Dolly Parton Day.
Dolly Parton Day. From here on out, buddy.
Praise the Lord.
Yes. So excited.
So how in the world could it be Blue Monday, the most depressing day of the year, when we're celebrating Dolly?
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
They're going to change that Blue Monday. It's going to be like Blue Tuesday from here on out or something. I don't know. There's no way the two of them can be on the same day.
I would agree.
Because she is like the icon of fun and energy and everything fun and happy.
That's how the state of Tennessee is combating anxiety and worry and depression. Is by declaring Dolly Parton Day. Dolly.
Right. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, happy birthday, Dolly.
Yeah, happy birthday, Dolly.
Yeah.
Any more?
Hopefully you're listening and you hear our birthday wishes.
Yes.
Yeah. If not, we'll send you the episode. How's that?
Yeah, I'm sure she's listening. There's no way she wouldn't be.
So today's topic is order from chaos. And so why don't we just start off with the nice part and talk about the beauty of order. Yeah. The happy. Right. The Dolly.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about the Dolly of order.
The Dolly of order.
Let's do that. Yeah.
The order of Dolly.
So you are our residential horticultural genius. Is that correct?
Well, yeah. Not here in
self-proclaimed?
Not here in Northeast Tennessee though. More like
Florida.
Extreme South Florida. Yes.
Extreme.
Yeah, like here I'm like, I don't know what to do. I'm not sure. It's like opposite seasons and weird. But yes, okay, I'm the resident, whatever. Horticultural genius.
So we're talking about order.
Yes.
And specifically order from chaos. And so there's a picture in your office.
Okay.
And now the picture that's in your
several
office.
Several pictures.
That is true. One of those was Dolly.
One of those was
Dolly.
So
you removed that from your office today for this. But one of the pictures in your office is of like a nursery.
Yeah.
For plants.
That's my nursery.
I was going to say that was your nursery in Florida, correct?
Right.
So tell us a little bit about that.
So you mean the order of it?
Yeah, the order of it, and like what is a
nursery?
For those who are listening who don't know what a nursery
is. It's not where we care for small children.
There we go. Yes. Okay. It's where we lose them.
Yeah, so it's just a place where we are producing plants for resale.
Yep.
And mass production of that. And that's what my education is in, by the way.
Mass production of plants?
Some of it, yeah. Yeah. Production of annuals and ground covers.
Okay.
And if you don't know what those are, just look them up. But because we could go on all day and people would be bored. But so it's just a area where we're producing plants for resale for you to plant and your wife to go crazy and see them and love the little flowers.
Nice.
And then I make money off of that, which I love. But the picture is one of our shade houses that we used to have. And I think you commented that how orderly it looked in there.
Yeah.
Because everything I do is so orderly, except my truck. Inside of my truck looks like a bomb exploded. But yeah, so it's just orderly and they're in rows and nicely done and by color, by genus, by species, by,
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Woo!
It's that specific too?
It doesn't have to be. It is. I mean, we have genus and species, but it doesn't have to be like that. But I like them. I like when everything's in order.
In order, like that.
It's easier to maintain. It's easier to just to take care of. And we're inspected by the Department of Agriculture, and so when they come in, they like things orderly. Also.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Now, you go to other places, plant nurseries that are not as orderly. I'm not saying that mine was always the orderliest. Orderliest?
We'll take it.
Okay, we'll take it. Yeah, but it's easier on the eyes.
Yep.
It's calming in a sense. You know what I mean? So like if we're looking for a certain palm tree for a job and we're wandering through the underbrush of Africa trying to find this thing, because all of a sudden, bing, there's this one pops up in amongst a billion other things.
Yep.
It's not that easy. But if you're like, sense. Oh, there they are.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It makes it so much easier.
That makes sense. I know that like when we were preparing for this episode, and I was pacing in our office.
Oh, yes.
Because JT
wore the floor out.
JT and I share an office.
Oh,
I don't know if that's good for any of us, but yeah. So I was pacing in our office.
That's why I'm not in there often.
That's true.
Love it.
There's a sign outside of our office that says "The Grinch works here."
Yeah, and it's you.
That's me. I could say a lot of things right there. But anyway, so I was pacing around in our office and just kind of thinking over like this episode and what we're going to talk about. Mm-hmm. And that picture caught my eye because I was like, man, that is like the epitome of order.
Right.
Because it looked clean, it looked neat, it looked together. Mm-hmm. And what hit me was there's a beauty to that.
Right.
When you see something like that and it's orderly, you're like, man, that looks sharp.
I forgot to tell you a little part about that real quick. Came to my mind about the orderly portion.
Oh,
so there's a ground cover fabric that we put down.
Okay.
That keeps weeds and everything from growing up as you're putting out your potted plants. It's black, and in there, every foot is usually a blue or a green thread of this fabric.
Okay.
In line, so that way you can put out your stuff in straight line. Yeah.
Really?
And it's every foot. Yeah.
Oh, that's not. I didn't know that.
See? Order.
Look at that. Mm-hmm. And that's what you like.
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, so I thought it was really good. And you and I have talked, years ago.
Yes.
That maybe one day you were going to go work at Disney and you were going to do all their flowery things and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, for those of you who have ever been to Disney, like we've both been to Disney before. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there's a number of people who have as well. Like when you walk through the parks, whether it's Disney or whether it's other theme parks, and they have floral arrangements and that kind of stuff, they have like pictures, whatever. Like there's a beauty to that where you're just like, man, that looks really, really good. Because again, there's a pattern, there's time, there's effort, there's order, there's all that kind of stuff that's kind of has to go into that in order to create that
beautiful landscape.
Beautiful landscape. There we go. That was the word I was looking for. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I'm saying whether it's that or it's just you're going shopping for something and there's order. To me, it's calming.
Yeah.
Because like I'm not knocking any certain retailer here, but like I don't know where they're at, but I know here in East Tennessee we have Ollie's.
Oh yeah.
It's hard. It's hard to shop there. It's very chaotic, and they may have good deals if you have the patience to find them. Because it is, it's tremendous.
But I mean, that's a good point because I think for anybody who's listening, they've been to locations or retail stores where you walk in and you're like, this is really neat. It's really put together.
Right.
Like you said, it's calming. You can just kind of like meander through. But then you go into some of those, whether it's an Ollie's or there's some Dollar General sometimes that are a bit.
Some are all. Yeah.
I was being kind.
Yeah, you leave and you need your anxiety medication.
Yeah, because you're like, what did I just get myself into?
My wife and I, we love going to antique stores.
Yeah.
We do. We just love antique stores. And don't always buy something. Just look. And laugh like, did your grandma have this or did my grandma have this? This, whatever. And there's some that are really well done.
Yeah.
And then there's others you leave with a headache. So it's like, oh, it's just too much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go back to the horticulture for a second. Florida is the caladium capital of the world, which caladium is like a heart-shaped leaf plant, little short guy, and it has different colors, leaves, or their leaves are different color. And so it's in more central-ish, west central Florida, Lake Placid. That may not be as far north, but Lake Placid, those areas. I think Lake Placid is the caladium capital of the world. But anyhow, they have those big fields like you're talking about with the tulips of those caladiums because they harvest the bulbs. But they're all by color. Very, very cool.
That's cool.
Yeah.
It reminds me too, so this past week we had a group here from Pennsylvania. And one of the men who were here with that group, he was a farmer.
Yes.
And so he was showing us various pictures of like their orchards. And it reminded me, looking at his pictures, and so he had like apple orchards, right? That's what those were.
And peach.
And peaches.
And cherry.
And cherry, that's right. Cherry too. And then down in South Florida, especially like central and south, you had all the orange groves, you know, and there's a beauty to it because they're all in those straight lines. You know, you used to see that, and you're just like, man, that is just, it's gorgeous.
Right.
When you see those kind of things.
You're driving up the highway with those orange groves. And I always like you see them coming, you know, and I'm like, okay, which direction are the rows going? Yeah. Because sometimes they're going at a diagonal to the road you're on, or they're going to go straight back, or they're running, you know, whatever. Yeah. Yeah. I just was like, okay, which way are the rows going? But, yeah, very orderly. Yeah. Not much chaos.
Exactly. Exactly. Right. And so there's a beauty to that, right? Which is why, again, like you're going down and all of a sudden like your eye gets drawn to it because you're like, oh, wow.
Nice.
That's sharp. Right. So like with this topic, this stems really from a newsletter that we sent out, you know, months ago, I guess. And in it, I was talking about how like Bryce and I, like we do Taekwondo.
Very good at it, by the way.
Well, Bryce is.
Well, you know, you're
Bryce. Older. Thanks.
But Bryce, we're really proud of you, buddy.
Bryce is doing a great job. Keep it up, buddy.
I used to pick on him a little, but he's getting a little older, a little bigger, and I'm like, he's going to take me and tie me in like a pretzel one day.
And he's starting to work out.
Yeah, look out. Yeah. Bryce working out.
Watch out.
Yeah.
So,
sorry, go ahead.
No, you're fine. So in that newsletter, I was referencing that he was part of what's called a demo team.
Okay.
And so they were going to practice, right? And so everything needed to be in sync, you know, because there's a routine, everything's choreographed, that kind of stuff. And when it started off, it was a little sketch because nobody was really on. They were all still trying to figure it out. But the more that everybody practiced, you start to see that kind of like come together. Well, the date that we're filming this, just this past weekend, they actually had that big kickoff party where they had to perform all these demonstrations. Cool. And so I was there as they were kind of setting up and doing like their final practices before everybody showed up. Okay. And I was obviously there for the demonstration as well. I wasn't the coach, no. Okay. I just intent observer. Okay. We'll put it that way.
You're one of those parents.
I'm one of the helicopter or whatever.
Got it.
Yeah. So while they were practicing, I was like nobody else was in there, and I go and I stand in the back of the building. Okay. Just so I can just see like as a whole. And I did it then, and then the night of when they were actually doing the demonstration, I did the same thing. I made sure I was in the back, just kind of watching, and it looked so tight because everybody's wearing the exact same color gi, which is like their uniform. Yeah. And they're all doing the exact same motions when they're supposed to be doing them. And it looked so sharp.
That's awesome.
You know? And I love that. And there's a beauty to that too. When you sit back and you're like, man, that just looks
the order.
It just looks really orderly and precise and tight, you know?
So they were like those in the Macy's Day, Thanksgiving Day parade, that line of the ladies who do that thing and they kick. What are they called? I can't think what they're called. Oh, come on. Forget it. Edit that out.
You mean where they...
It's in the Macy's Day and Thanksgiving Day parade. Yeah. Right in front of Macy's, those ladies all come out and they're all dressed alike and they're in a long line and they do this.
Is that where they're like holding like each other's shoulders?
Yeah, and they're do the kick. Yeah.
Some of our counselors have done that before.
Yeah. What is that? What are those ladies called? I know my wife's going to call in and say they're called this.
My mom probably will too.
I know.
I think she went and watched them.
The Rockettes.
Rockettes.
Woo!
See, I was thinking Globetrotters, and it's not the same.
There's a big difference between the Rockettes and the Globetrotters. Yeah, there's a basketball.
That's right.
Yeah. Anyhow,
the Rockettes.
Yeah, the Rockettes because there's like precision.
Yeah.
Like order is it's beyond order. With those, you know, I mean,
the timing is precise.
Timing, the height
stuff
of their kick, and and there's like however many are in a line, 25 of them or whatever. There's a whole long line of these ladies doing this. Yeah. So like you're saying, like Bryce and all his guys up there, they're like. Yeah, I like the Rockettes, but of Taekwondo.
But it was super cool to watch, you know. And then again, for me, knowing the amount of work that they had put into it, just being able to see that come to fruition and be like, man, that was sharp. Right. That looked really good. There's a beauty to it.
That's a good point too that you just made. With order, there's work to that. There's work that has to be done to have order. Yeah, chaos ends up on it just comes along. Yeah, you don't have to do much work for chaos.
I was going to say, chaos just comes from laziness. Yeah. You're just not doing anything, and so it's going to become chaotic.
Right. Like the back seat of my truck. That is definitely chaos, laziness, and there is no order.
Exactly.
Yeah, right. You know? A lot of work to be put in for order.
Yep. Yeah. And so when we think of order, obviously, you know, we're talking about how beautiful something that is orderly can be, right? Right. But the problem is that, well, we don't really live totally in a world of order. I think if we look at just the world around us, we could argue it's probably more chaotic than it is orderly. Right? like especially right now, the things that are happening in like Minneapolis.
Sure.
We talked about Venezuela while we were kind of preparing for this and everything that was taking place there, and just the world as a whole.
Yeah. So not only just the world, like the world away from us,
right,
but even here in our country.
Yeah.
There's this kind of chaos going on.
Yeah.
Of uncontrollable situations.
Yep.
Exactly. That sometimes are brought on.
Yeah.
We bring on ourselves.
The majority of it is our own doing. Yes, that's about right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But so, we're thinking about those kind of things when we think of like a global scale, but you're right. Like even here domestically, like we've got different things that happen, whether it's, natural catastrophes,
right.
If a tornado goes through or a hurricane,
right.
Or a flood.
We're right there in the flood area.
Yeah. All those things like that creates chaos, and let's make it even, I guess, more personal, like division and conflict.
Yeah.
Between people, whether it's family members or friends or, whatever. Like there's always that dissension and division, I guess, that can be there that creates chaos.
Right.
So yeah, so we have things in our lives that sometimes are, because of us, those direct things that we create, like dissension and division and war, that kind of stuff. But then we have things that are indirect, like the health issues, right? All of a sudden you get a phone call and you find out that you've got cancer, or somebody that you love has cancer, or some kind of, health issue, and it throws everything out of whack, and now things start to spin out of control, or at least they can, and it feels very chaotic, right? And so like the world that we live in our lives, they don't always seem orderly, right? And I guess you could argue that more often than not, it seems probably a little bit more chaotic than it does orderly.
It does.
In our lives. And I know, at least, for you and for me, and for a lot of us here at Bancroft, like we all have different things going on in our lives where, just the seasons of life that we're in
are a little chaotic at times.
Can be a little chaotic. Mm-hmm. Exactly. So then I guess my question would be, why? Like if order is so beautiful, like why can't we keep it that way? Why do we have chaos then?
Right. Why can't it just all be orderly all the time?
Why can't it always be, tulip fields?
Amen.
Or what was the caladiums?
Caladiums.
I was
caladium.
Close.
You're pretty close. Caladium.
Mm-hmm. And caladium fields.
Caladium
why can't we? Right. Why can't we have that?
Apple orchards, right? Yeah, as we saw some
that makes it a
pictures
lot easier for me to do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Why can't everything be like that?
Yeah.
Like, why isn't it just like that all the time?
Yeah. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I know why, but I'm not gonna spoil it.
No, go ahead and spoil it. Let's spoil
it. Sin.
Yes.
The fall of man.
Yep.
So that Garden of Eden, everything, those caladiums were all in a row. Those tulips were all in a row. Right?
Yep.
Hate to say it, but those apple trees were all in a row. There was a snake in one of them. But anyhow, it was all orderly, right?
Yeah.
All perfect and in order.
Yeah.
And then leave it to man. We messed it up.
I'm glad you said man and not woman.
I almost said woman, but we'll leave it to man.
That's a good call.
To man. Yeah. Leave it to man, right?
Yeah.
And we messed this up.
Yeah.
And at that point, here comes the chaos.
Yep. That's where chaos came.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you're right. I mean, like, you're saying in the Garden of Eden, like everything was orderly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, yeah.
I don't know that. I haven't been there. I mean, I wasn't there, but you could assume everything's orderly.
Well, I think yeah, it was perfect. Exactly. Like God, when He created the world,
right?
Like He said it was good.
Right.
Everything was good. Everything was orderly. Everything was the way it was supposed to be. Mm-hmm. And then we sinned, and chaos entered.
Yeah.
And ever since then.
Downhill
from there.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that you go back again and just really think hard on that Garden of Eden. Mm. Not just because I'm a horticultural genius, but just think about that Garden of Eden of how beautiful it was. Yep. Just the beauty of it, the beauty of all of the foliage and all of the plants and the flowers and whatever was there.
Yep.
And how organized and just gorgeous looking.
Yep.
Right. Why couldn't we just kept it that way? But then man gets in there.
Yep.
And we sin.
Yep.
And here we are.
And we mess it all up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that.
Right? And so that's why...
I don't want to say thanks, Adam, but thanks, Adam.
But thanks, Adam.
Yeah.
Thanks for botching it.
Yeah, thanks for botching it. Now we have... My tomatoes don't grow right because of you.
That's right. Yeah. That's so true. What does it look like when you combine a rousing game of putt-putt and camp ministry? The first annual Bancroft Putt-Putt Tournament. That's what. Why not play 36 holes of putt-putt and support the ministry you love? Whether you are a fierce putt-putt competitor or just want a fun night with the family, all can have their putt-putt cravings fulfilled at Bancroft's Putt-Putt Tournament. On Thursday, April 9th from 6 to 8 p.m., come out to the Putt-Putt Fun Center on Stone Drive in Kingsport, Tennessee to not only play some putt-putt, but also support Bancroft's Bible Camp. The tournament will consist of teams of 4, and there are 4 different competition groups. PGA Ready, for those uber-competitive putt-putt masters. Or Casual Putter, for those who enjoy a round of golf with their friends, but are too modest to hit the tour. Or Sand Trap King, for those who are better off just taking a mulligan. Or just having fun, and that's for those who are just looking for a nice outing with your spouse and kids. Whatever your level of putt-putt skill, there's a place for you, and each group has a first, second, and third place trophy to be won and proudly displayed for all your friends to see. But what if you're not much of a putt-putter, but would still like to contribute? Well, you can become a sponsor of the tournament. If you would like to sponsor a hole in memory of someone, or maybe you have a business that you would like to get some marketing, there are opportunities for you as well. So register your team today for only $60 a team. That's $15 a person. Or become a sponsor of the tournament and help support Bancroft Bible Camp. Visit the website today at bancroftgospelministry.org/putt-putt. That's bancroftgospelministry.org/putt-putt. And if you didn't get all of that, there will be a link in the description. Looking for an easy and economical way to partner with Bancroft? For cheaper than a movie ticket, a Disney Plus Hulu subscription, and a meal at Chick-fil-A, you can make an eternal impact for just $10 a month. For only $10 a month, you become part of an alliance of financial supporters who are providing for the financial needs of the ministry. I know that $10 doesn't really seem like a lot of money, but it's a donation that everyone is able to participate in. Whether you're on a fixed budget, a child using birthday money, everyone is able to find $10 a month to donate. You probably could even find $10 in the cushions of your couch. It's as easy as replacing one fast food meal a month, or replacing 1 or 2 cups of coffee a month. For students, maybe just wash 1 car a month. Maybe for students, make this your birthday or Christmas present. No matter how big or how small, young or old, everyone can participate in $10 a month. And every little bit helps fund everything we do here at Bancroft throughout the year. Head on over to bancroftgospelministry.org, click on any of the donate buttons throughout the website, and sign up for our $10 a month club. Make sure to click to make it reoccurring so you never miss a month to partner with us. Then, when we look at the world, when we see chaos, like that's not of God. That's not from God, because what we're going to talk about in a little bit, like God is a God of order.
Right.
So if he's a God of order, where there is chaos, that is not of him. Mm-hmm. Chaos is always going to be present, until the Lord returns and makes all things new. But when we see chaos, we have to understand first and foremost, like that is a result of the fall.
Right.
And it is a result of just sin. Period. Mm-hmm. And then many times, a lot of the chaos, like we talked about just a minute ago, is self-inflicted.
Right.
Also because of our sin.
Right.
Right? Because of the things that we do, the things that we say, how we interact, how we treat others, those types of things, that's all rooted in our sinfulness. Right. That stems all the way back
to Adam.
To Adam and the fall. Mm-hmm. Right? And so when sin entered the world, so did chaos. Now things were no longer orderly. Right. They were all chaotic. And so this is why we live in a world where there is chaos everywhere. Now we have the promise and the hope that in the future the Lord is going to return and make it all orderly again, right?
Yes.
But until then, we live in a world of chaos, because of sin. And so again,
it seems like it's getting more chaotic.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
I mean, you just turn on the news for a little bit, whether it's local or national.
National, yeah.
And it's a hotbed of chaos all the time. It feels like,
Doesn't seem like much order.
Exactly. And so then, if we believe that God is a God of order, which we're going to talk about in just a second, when we see chaos, we need to understand first and foremost it is a result of sin, but chaos ultimately is going to be demonic.
Yeah,
because it's not of
Satan.
God. Yeah,
right.
Like Satan is, he's the author of lies. Yeah. He's the author of confusion.
He's the king of chaos.
He's the king of chaos, right? And he's going to do everything he can to make it even more chaotic.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks a bunch. So then, when we see chaos, immediately we have to sit back and say, "This is because of sin. This is the work of Satan."
Right.
Now, is God still in control of all of the chaos? Is he still overseeing it and making? Of course, he is. But we need to understand that he's not working chaos. It is Satan and it is sin, that is causing that. And again, we know that because we believe that God is a God of order, because the Bible actually tells us that, and it's pretty blunt about it as well, right? So like 1 Corinthians chapter 14, we actually see it in two different verses there in chapter 14. The first one is in 1 Corinthians chapter 14, verse 33, where it says, "For God is not a God of confusion, but of peace." Confusion is chaos.
Yes.
Right?
Right.
Especially if we've ever been in situations where it's very, very confusing. There's a chaotic nature that kind of corresponds with that, right?
Right.
So then you keep going and you get to verse 40, and this is where we get this very, very clear instruction. But all things should be done decently and in order. Well, why? Because God is not a God of confusion.
Right.
He's not a God of chaos. He's a God of order.
Is this the verse 40? Is this what you use to get the kids to clean their room? You're like, right here, it's biblical. Okay.
Exactly.
Everything should be done decently and in order. Now clean that room.
Exactly. Cleanliness is next to godliness, right?
Right.
Even though it doesn't say that in the Bible anywhere.
No, but
it's a great mantra to have.
It is.
God is not a God of confusion.
No.
Everything needs to be done decently and in order.
Right.
And I think then we sit back and we're like, okay. Again, I think we see examples of this, aka creation, right? Which we talked about just a little bit ago.
Yeah.
From the very beginning, God takes what was disorderly and chaotic. The Bible tells us that the earth was without form and void. Okay. And he takes it and he makes it orderly. Yeah. He makes it habitable. Right. He creates land. He separates the light and the dark. They're not mixed anymore.
Separates the land from the water.
Separates the land from the water.
Yeah.
Like he creates, all of the animals and the birds and the fish, and he does it in a certain way. Right. So like everything is orderly. It's not chaotic.
Right.
And even in his creation of man and woman, if we just think about the human body and the way that it functions, when it's functioning the way it's supposed to, it's pretty orderly.
Yeah. Yep.
And what's crazy is when something's not working the way it should,
a little bit of chaos,
and it creates problems. Right. So just like even from the beginning, like God was exhibiting the fact that he is a God of order in just how he created the world.
And then you think with that creation and order, you think of the planets and the galaxies and all these things that we know about, right? But we don't know. I think we barely just know a little, just barely a skim of these things about the planets and all. But the order that they're in, that they're that they're not crashing together. They're revolving around. All that. I'm not really a science type of a whatever, but you think about that he did all that, he created all that, but it all has order. Things, because here on Earth, okay, I can look out and say, "Oh, look at the order there, and look at the order there." But I mean, I can somewhat control the order. Like you can control the order of your kids cleaning their room, or where you're going to plant something, or way it grows, or we can create nice straight roads and all that. But like, I really can't control Mars and Venus and the moon and the sun and what they're doing. There's I can't. No, there's nothing. The Lord did that.
That's a great point.
The Lord created that, and the way that he created it in such order and such just I don't know the word.
Design too,
right. Just, it's beyond my brain.
Yeah. And what's amazing about all that too is, you're right. Like we can't control any of those things, but the God of order is always in control of those things, and he's maintaining all of that, And so then you've even got things like natural laws, like gravity. There's an order to that. The laws of like thermodynamics, these natural laws that, well, we call them natural laws because this is just the way things work.
Right. There's no on-off button to this that we can control.
Exactly. Like God established that.
Imagine if we could turn off gravity every now and then. Like just have a switch.
We start floating. Some people would probably get sick.
That'd be great.
But then you see order. Yeah. Again, not just when you go outside and you see, an orchard, but when you just think about the way that the world operates, like creation works, photosynthesis, like all these different things. They work. There's specific processes to those, Why? Well, because God created it and he's a God of order. So he's made all of these things orderly.
Right. And to work together.
Yeah, exactly. But then you go into scripture and man, you see so many different examples of stuff where we see that God is orderly, right? Like you go and if you're reading through the Old Testament, Leviticus, Numbers, you're seeing where God is giving instruction about the construction of the tabernacle, of the utensils that are going to be used, right? You see instructions about like the feasts that they're supposed to hold and the sacrifices they're supposed to make. He's very specific in this is what you're doing. Right. This is how big this is going to be. This is how many cattle you're going to bring. For this specific sacrifice or this specific offering, bring these things.
That's all orderly.
It's all orderly, and he gives specific instructions. Like you think about the Ark of the Covenant. He's like, this is how big I want this box to be. This is what you're going to make it out of. This is how you're going to...
Boy, I'm glad I wasn't the ones building it.
For real.
You tell me to do something, it's like, whatever. Okay, I'm an inch off, but I'm pretty...
I would have destroyed
I'll bet you they measured 3 times before they cut. Because you're doing this for the Lord. I mean,
that's exactly right.
Yeah, the inspector's coming. Oh, yeah, by the way, it's the Lord.
Yeah. So again, but you read through Leviticus and Numbers, and to me... As I was reading through that a couple months ago, like that was constantly just screaming at me. Like,
very specific.
Look at the order.
Yeah.
Look at the order that's here. Then it makes me think of like Noah's Ark as well. Like God was very specific, right? And this is how I want you to design the ark. But again, like you just see that, and God was so specific.
Right.
There was a specific order, specific details as to this is what I want and this is how I want it done.
It's just awesome.
And so again, like we just see that as, okay, well, God is a God of order, and it makes me think of like some other like practical things for us, right? Like I love Legos.
Oh, I do too.
Legos are so much fun.
I like old school Lego though. You and Bryce like those newer, little more. They're a little too much for me.
What?
Yeah,
man, the new sets are legit.
I go down the aisle in Walmart and I look at them, but it's just
they're fantastic.
I like my old school Lego.
Maybe a little expensive, but I like them a lot. I like them a lot.
Yeah, it's like buy a car, buy a Lego set. Yeah. But
and Lego, cool. If you want to sponsor us, you're more than welcome to send us a set, and we'll design it. And put
we'll
it
do
together.
It right here.
Yeah,
we'll build it
exactly
on air, if that's what they call that.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll do that. We'll build it right here, and then it makes me think too of blueprints.
Oh,
so you got Legos. They come with
like the little booklets,
instruction, the
little blueprints for Lego.
Blueprints for Lego. And what I do like about Lego too is, which I always do when I go to Walmart, and my wife allows me to go down the toy aisle because sometimes she's like, "No, we ain't doing that," because she's afraid I'm coming home with $1 million Lego set, right? But I like turning the box, like the front shows you the. Yeah. Like, okay, this is the deal. This is it. But then a lot of times you turn that box around or on the side, it'll show you the few other things that you can build that's not the main deal.
Yep.
Yeah, I love doing that. So I'm like, I can build these other things with that set.
It's not just that one.
Right. So then they come with their own set of blueprints in a sense. But then think of when you're building a house or you're building even for the ones in Florida, when you buy that stuff from IKEA, it comes with that really sketchy blueprint to put the thing together. But you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
these blueprints, but they're very specific. They're in order.
Yep.
Because as men, we're going to admit it. We're just going to admit it today.
Okay.
That we do not like to read instructions.
Generally, no.
And when it's you and your wife and you're putting together the whatever you bought, you're like, babe, I don't need them instructions. I got this. And you got all those little nuts and bolts and screws and whatever.
Why does there always seem to be a whole lot more left over than there should be?
There is always. There is always. But you know that you don't read those daggum instructions, and then you get halfway through it, and you're like, now I got to take it all the way back apart because I put this piece in there that was supposed to go
a different way.
Right.
Yep.
Because why? Because we didn't read the instructions.
Yep.
But if we'd go by the blueprint and go in order, there won't be so much chaos in the home.
Yep. In the home.
In the home. No, but we've all been there, right?
Yeah.
But even building buildings, I mean, they just don't. Well, some people do because we do live in Northeast Tennessee. But most of the time, there is a blueprint. There is a plan to the building.
Right.
Right. And you better go by that plan, especially if it's going to be inspected.
Yeah. No, you're right.
Right. I mean, you could throw up a little building without a plan, but a lot of times it doesn't work out too well for you.
But you're right. Like whether it's Lego or whether it's something else, like if you're not following the blueprint, if you're not following the instruction, because again, like there's an order to it. So if you don't follow this order, you're going to miss something.
Probably going to get caught somewhere.
Exactly.
Right?
Because what ends up, at least from a Lego standpoint, what ends up happening
Tell me.
is if you miss a step, that step is there and it's crucial for a specific reason because number of steps down the road, you're going to have to attach something to that. And so if you don't do it right, you're like, this doesn't make any sense.
Or you've used that piece here, and that piece is for
it's supposed to be down there.
15 steps down. And now you're like, where's that piece? Oh, no.
And it is a pain. And it does, it almost becomes chaotic. You're right. Because now I have to figure out
where's the
piece.
Where did I go wrong? Then take it back apart.
You got to start taking stuff apart. And it just becomes
Are you a Lego genius?
No. Lego master?
Oh, yeah.
I'm not a Lego master, although it's a fun show to watch.
Lego has a big deal coming here to
they
our
do.
area.
In Bristol.
Soon.
Yeah, the end of February, early March.
Like Lego R Us or something. I don't know what it is, but a big deal.
It's like a big brick expo or something like that. I'm super excited about it.
Yeah.
So again, like even with things just like that, whether it's Legos or whether, like you said, building a house, if you don't follow the instructions that are there and the order of how this is supposed to be done, it's going to cause problems. Right.
And I think people can relate to all that. And here's one more thing I just thought, it just popped in my mind.
Okay.
It's like not a menu, a recipe.
Oh, yeah.
Right? If a recipe is there for a reason, and most of the time, if you don't follow the recipe in its order, you're going to have a problem.
There's going to be a problem.
Right.
Yeah. You're going to forget the salt or the sugar.
Or you're
going to mix the two.
Right.
There's going to be a problem.
And now your lasagna noodle is on the top and not the cheese. Whatever. But they're there for a reason.
Yep.
Right.
And there's an order to that.
There is.
Right. And again, like when it's orderly, at the end, whether it's Legos, whether it's a house that's being built, or whether it's a lasagna that's being made, at the end you pull that thing out or you're finished and you're like, man, that's beautiful. Well, why? No, because I followed the instructions and I maintained the order to put it together. Right. If I would have gone all willy-nilly and started doing my own thing.
Willy-nilly.
You like that, didn't you?
I love it.
Then at
you're
the
going
end,
to have some chaos.
You're going to have some chaos, and it's not going to look nearly as good.
No. Right. And two, when you're done with that Lego, when you're done with building this, whatever you're building, a barn or a house or a dresser from IKEA, or you've made your lasagna, once you're done and you've followed the direction, you've done it in order and it's orderly, it's so rewarding.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, you pull that lasagna out, it's like, whew,
and that looks good.
I was going to say it's calming, but it's almost not calming because now I'm really excited because I want to eat it. But you know what I mean? Like you stand back and you look and you're like, oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And that's because, I followed the directions.
Yep.
And I've done the things the way I'm supposed to do them or the way that it's been said to do.
Right. And the problem, I think, is, again, because of our sinfulness, like you said, like as men, like we don't want to follow instructions. Right. But so because of our sinfulness, we create chaos every single day.
So because of sinfulness is the reason we don't follow direction. So it's not really our fault.
Well, it is your fault.
Well, I'm trying to get us out of this. I'm trying to our wives to say, oh, look, it's not his fault.
No, you're just damning yourself.
Yeah, darn it. Sunk the ship.
So it's like, but we make choices every single day that create the chaos.
We sure do.
And God is not a God of order, although he's given us the instructions on how we ought to live, things we ought to do, not just how to build an ark or how to build the Ark of a Covenant or build a tabernacle, but just how are we supposed to live our lives?
Right.
How are we supposed to interact with other people? How are we supposed to deal with these kind of things so that he can, if we follow his instruction, we can bring order to the chaos, that's usually self-inflicted. But even though we can try and do that, we can, do the best we can through his power to follow the instruction that he gives. Because of just sin as a whole, there's always going to be tension between chaos and order. Always. And it's going to be there, like we said earlier, until the Lord comes back.
It's like a tug of war.
Yeah.
Between chaos and order, and it's unfortunately chaos I think wins
most of the time
than order does because of sin.
Right.
Yeah.
But in the end, and this is where I think our hope comes in, especially when we experience the chaos in our lives, whether it's health issues, whether it's, family issues, whether it's war, and the things around us, right? There is a hope because we know that one day
order will be restored.
Order will be restored.
Yeah.
And we are promised that, like Isaiah chapter 40, verse 4, it says, every valley shall be lifted up, and every mountain and hill be made low. The uneven ground shall become level, and the rough places a plain. What do we see?
Great verse.
Okay, well, we see that everything starts to kind of get leveled out.
Levels off, right?
And becomes orderly again, Romans 8:28, which is probably one that everybody knows, right? Says, and we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good. There's going to become order, eventually. All the chaos, all the trouble, all that kind of junk eventually is going to work itself out, right? Why? Well, because God's working it all.
Right.
Because the God of order is constantly moving things to reorganize and to reorder.
He's moving those pieces of your Lego set, buddy.
That's exactly right. Praise the Lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank God it's him and not you.
And then obviously then we have the final and the ultimate order, that's going to be brought. Revelation chapter 21, verse 5. And he who is seated on the throne, this is Jesus, said, behold, I am making all things new.
It's cool.
Like he's going to bring order to all of the chaos that's there. And that's a promise that we have, to where then when we experience the chaos in our own lives, when we see it in the world around us, we don't have to despair.
Right.
Right. We don't have to lose our minds and go in like doomsday prep and live as a hermit for the rest of our lives because, well, hey, you know what?
Yeah.
All of this will be made right in the end, And so there's a hope that we can have, and that hope that we have allows us then to be able to face the chaos,
right?
To persevere through the chaos because we know
to handle it.
Yeah. Right? Because we know and we believe in that ultimate hope, that's there, right?
Yeah.
And so then when things seem chaotic, the first thing that we need to do then is not try to make it right ourselves. The first thing we need to do is we need to go to the God of order and ask him to turn our chaos into order, right? Because again, he's the God of order. He is perfect. And he's constantly working to make the crooked places straight again.
Don't we mess that up so often?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He's making it straight, and we're like, nah, I don't think you're doing that right.
You know what?
Let's make it more crooked.
I got this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what we need to do. Unfortunately, though, I think there's times in our lives where we pray for order, for God to make something orderly, and it either stays chaotic or it becomes more chaotic.
Right.
So then it makes us question why.
Why? Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So what happens if he chooses not to? What happens then? What are we to do?
Yeah.
If he chooses, hey, I'm not. You're like, I'm not going to take care of your chaos here. You're going to have to hang in there for a little while in this chaos. Right. What are we to do?
So then I think, first of all, we just need to rest in him, right? Because
that's
again,
easier said than done sometimes.
Well, that's definitely true.
But it's the truth.
But I think we need to rest in him because the fact is, like, he's going to sustain us in that chaos.
Right.
It kind of reminds me, and we keep going back to this, I feel like in a lot of our episodes, is going back to like the disciples in the storm. Everything's chaotic. There's a storm around them, right? And they're like, don't you care that we're perishing? What do they need to do? They need to go to the God of order who is asleep in the boat.
They should have just went to bed.
Yeah.
Right? Get your bunks, boys.
So then they had to go down there and go to the God of order who's sleeping, wake him up and be like, hey, I need you to make this, I need to make this orderly again. But he sustains them through all of that, through that chaos. I also believe that, when we go to him, like he'll give us hope in the chaos, of the future order that's coming, right? So that in the chaos that we are experiencing in the present, like again, we don't have to live in despair,
right?
Because we can hope in the future order and the promise that it's all going to be made right.
Yeah,
exactly. You know what I mean? And so we can do that as well.
Yeah.
And I think there's an aspect of peace and rest that comes when we simply believe that he's still in control of the chaos. Like he's allowing that chaos to take place. It's not like God is like, oh no, what am I going to do?
You're right.
Like,
took him by surprise.
Yeah, because it didn't. Like he's still in control of what seems to be chaotic to us. Which, I just had a thought about that too. For us, we look at things from our perspective and we say, this is chaotic. This is a hot mess.
Right.
I don't believe that God does that.
He's like, look at that hot mess down there.
Yeah, like I don't think he's sitting back going, this is a hot mess. You're right. He's sitting back going, no, this is exactly the way I'm orchestrating these things, because here's the end result. And unfortunately, these things have to take place in order to get us here. Like he's got like the bird's eye view. Like we're like in the trenches, and we're looking around this is a hot mess.
That's horrible.
And he's looking over the top going, yeah,
perfect.
This is exactly the way it needs to be right now. And so there's still that aspect of he's in control of that chaos. Our perspective is it's chaotic, and he's looking at it going, no, I'm working to make all things new. Yeah, it's gonna be okay. Like I'm still in control.
It's so easy to think of that, right? When it's really when you're in that chaotic disaster.
When everything hits the fan.
Yeah, it's like oh yeah.
But at the same time, I think that's, as believers, this is the mindset that we should be having.
Yeah.
Right? Because if we're putting our faith and our trust in God on a regular basis, then it should allow us to be able to look at the things around us, right? And the situations that we have, and look at it from a different perspective. I don't have to look at it from, this is a hot mess, chaotic, I don't know what's going to take place, but I can look at it and go, well, I know the God of order. And I'm going to trust that he is in control, that he's going to sustain me through this, that he's going to plan for the chaos, because he's working, again, all things according to the counsel of his will. And like nobody is going to mess up his plans and his purposes. Like, even though things look crazy, and we're like, there's no way that God has a plan for this. He's like, actually, no, I do. I've been planning these things on a regular basis, Hang
in there.
Exactly. Like he's orchestrating these things. He's allowing certain things to take place in order to get us to that end that will ultimately be perfect, right, and restored. For this episode, for anybody who listens to it, like when we look at our lives and when we look at the world around us, like let's take heart. Take heart that maybe right now your life and just the circumstances you find yourself in are chaotic, right? Or maybe you watch the news a little too much, and you start to get a little anxiety over everything that's going on. Yeah, like
not the preppy with the collar up preppy,
right? But the other one,
preparation.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
right. So you start to get a little anxious, because of all the chaos that you see, right? Take heart,
and know that the Lord's in control.
He's in control.
It's part of his plan.
Part of his plan.
And he's going to lead us through this chaos. Right?
That's right.
At the end.
Exactly.
Yeah. This year, through both our retreats and camps, enter a world of dragons, knights, wizards, and so much more as we dive into the reality of spiritual warfare. In the spring, our theme will be Friend and Fiend. Every battle has an enemy to be defended against, fought, and to be defeated. Join us this spring as we expose and examine our enemy and his tactics and learn to rely on our friend and commander, Jesus. Then, in our epic summer camp, our theme is Battle Royale, and the battle is on. Embark on a fantastical journey next year as we armor up to fight against the cave trolls, orcs, goblins, and dragons of sin and temptation that wage war against us. Join us this summer as we examine and put on the armor of God and join the battle for the ages. Finally, in the fall, our theme will be Victorious. The objective in every battle is to win, but it doesn't always feel like we are winning. As we persevere in this epic spiritual battle, we need to be reminded that we already know how it ends. Join us this fall as we encourage one another with the truth that the Lord wants us to experience a victorious life, not only in this life, but for those in Christ, we will ultimately win in the next life. Visit our website at bancroftgospelministry.org today and register for our spring and fall retreats and our summer camp. It's going to be a fantastically epic year.
The government is always looking for ways to tax our hard-earned money and investments. One of the ways they like to take our money is through capital gains taxes. This is where the government taxes our profits from smart investments that we make through the stock market, the selling of real estate, and other valuable property. But what if I told you that there was a way to escape some of these taxes? Instead of giving some of the profits to the government, why not give it to a ministry that you love? That's right. You can avoid some capital gains taxes by donating stock that has increased in value to a nonprofit organization. Many donors have found that this is an easy way to increase their donation while helping themselves at tax time. Stock Donator is a great organization that makes your stock donations to nonprofits as easy as pie. Simply go to stockdonator.com and follow the online prompts to donate your stock to Bancroft today and help support the ministry that you love. Visit Stock Donator today and make a lasting contribution to the ministry. So let's talk about this then from a practical day-to-day standpoint, which I think is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to this, I think, a little bit, because I think this is going to be relatable to a lot of us. But it's the concept of an orderly life. Okay? So biblically, what we see, number one, we believe that God is a God of order, right? He is orderly. So then, specifically as believers, then we should be living orderly lives as well, right? Because the lives that we live should be a reflection of the God that we serve.
Yeah.
Right? So if God is orderly in all that he does, well then...
we should be orderly in all we do.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. I know it's easier said than done. No, it's easier said than done. But again, an orderly life is a reflection of God, who is a God of order and not of chaos, right? And I think we see these principles in scriptures, in the scripture. One in particular, 1 Timothy chapter 3, verses 4 and 5, says an overseer or bishop, elder, pastor, all those are pretty much interchangeable, must manage his own household well and keep his children under control with complete dignity. For if someone does not know how to manage his own household, how can he care for the church of God? Now, again, contextually speaking, this is talking about church leadership, right? The way that you're supposed to be setting up a church, who is qualified to be pastor, elder, bishop, overseer, those types of things. But practically, and from an application standpoint, an orderly life is not reserved to only those who are doing full-time domestic. I don't think domestic was the right word. Full-time ministry.
Okay.
Does that make sense? You know, like, okay, the only people who have to have orderly lives are going to be pastors.
Yeah.
Because honestly, this is, and even just all of 1 Timothy 3, where we see qualifications of pastors and deacons, like these are qualities that we all, as followers of Christ, should be striving for.
Probably have.
You know, and so then when we think about our own personal lives, okay, then our houses need to be in order. You know, because if our houses are not in order, well, how can we go and tell anybody else
About their house being in order?
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Plus, if I say that I'm a believer and I follow Christ, right, and I believe in God and that he's a God of order, and my life is not orderly, it's not a good reflection. So living this orderly life, okay, like I think that goes to very practical things. So Marie and Reagan, they love to watch like these ladies on YouTube who do like organization kind of stuff.
Goodness gracious.
You know?
I know. I know. I have one of those. She probably has a YouTube channel.
Hey, she probably could. She probably could if she doesn't.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's all these ladies who, you know, they're going through closets and they're, you know, getting stuff out of there and cleaning it up and reorganizing it and making everything, you know, perfect.
I'm just, I
yeah,
know.
because you know what I'm talking about.
Your underwear are here today. Tomorrow they're over here because we've reorganized it. I know. I know all about it. Yeah.
But everything's color coded.
It's all color coded. And you know what? It's appreciative.
It
I
is.
will say that.
It is.
Can you just leave my stuff alone though? Yeah. Right. So they love watching this stuff.
Oh, absolutely love watching this stuff. And Reagan, and so first of all, Marie she can be very organized. Mm-hmm. Like she's got her list of things. She's got her notebooks for
her
specific
little tabs.
things.
She's
got
love
her
the tabs.
Absolutely.
Shout out to Marie with her tabs. Love it.
She does all that.
Yeah.
Well, Reagan has taken after Marie big time, and Reagan she loves organization. Yes. Now I've got two in the house. Reagan is very big in organization as well.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
I love it.
There's nothing wrong with being organized.
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like they watch these things. And so I think about when we think about having your house in order, okay, there's a lot of different ways that you can take that. But one of those is just from a daily standpoint, like keeping a clean house. Right. Keeping things in where they're supposed to be.
Clutter to a minimum.
Exactly. Yeah. I think when we were doing the research for this, there was a phrase that came up, a place for everything and everything in its place.
Yes.
It's that concept. Like, I don't know for you growing up, I know for me at least a little bit, and even now with my kids, I'm like, where does this belong? Mm-hmm. Okay. It doesn't belong here. I know that.
Right.
So where does it belong?
Right.
Especially Bryce with like his socks.
Oh yeah.
And his shoes and his hoodies and jackets. I joke. Well, I don't joke with him, but I tell him all the time, I'm like, son, do your shoes belong here? No. Where do they belong? In my room. Then put them there.
Yeah.
You know, why? Well, because there's a place for everything and everything needs to be in its place, you know? And I think that when we live orderly lives, like that's helpful. Like it makes us more efficient. It makes us more punctual.
Yeah.
You know, that we've talked about in the past.
Yeah.
You know, like it keeps things, you know, you can find things easier, more calming.
You know, being punctual and things like that. It reminds me, and everyone knows the certain person or the certain family. I'm not going to name any families, but at church, every Sunday morning, it's that same family that comes in 15 to 20 minutes late.
Yeah.
And creates chaos for the rest of us that got there on time. Amen?
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And so it's like if you could get a little more order, I'm not judging folks, but it's going to sound like that, but if you could just get a little more order in your home and be here 15 minutes ago.
Yep.
Right? Because it's, okay, everybody runs late, you know, the alarm, the whatever. There's always, you know, there could be something that caused you to be late.
Sure.
But not every Sunday.
Every single time?
Yeah. So just
like you haven't learned yet?
Just wind it back 15 minutes and you could be here on time and you could be in order with the rest of us.
That's right.
Is that outright?
Yeah,
you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's like, I'm sure you're this way. I think we've talked about it before. Myself, I set all my stuff out. Like tonight, I'll set everything out for tomorrow morning.
Oh, yeah.
Things I have to bring, you know, your car keys, your everything. I usually have about 12 notes of everything I'm got to bring or everything I got to remember to do or do on the way home or whatever.
Yep.
But I have it all ready, right? So that way, tomorrow morning and all the other things I'm doing, I'm not chaotically looking. Yep. You know, a lot of times I'll set my clothes out.
Yep.
You know, and get it all ready.
I'll do the same thing. Like there's a specific place in our kitchen where, like, there's this little box.
Okay.
And so, like, right next to that, I will put my sunglasses. I'll put my keys, my wallet, my knife, like everything I'm going to need.
Right there.
That's going to go in my pockets for me to go out the door. It's all right there. You know.
Yeah.
Every night, like I'll put my Bible right there, so I know that when I get up in the morning, I'm going to go do my devotions. I'm just walk over, grab my Bible.
Does that make life easy?
Heck yeah.
I mean,
heck yeah. And you know, and it's good though too because. Again, it's there. I know where it's there. So now if it's not there, there's a problem.
Right. Now there's chaos.
Yeah, now there's chaos. Yeah. Where's this? Where's that? Where's that? And I think, and even for those who regularly put their stuff in certain places, there are those times where you can't find what you're looking for, and it makes your blood pressure go up. You start to get frazzled.
Listen.
You know? Then you're like dashing to the car.
If I don't have that Blistex in my pocket, I'll tell you what, there's going to be some chaos. Okay? Yeah, it's just the truth. But just that little bit of preparation, a little bit of putting things in order, putting things in their place, sure causes a lot easier time when it's time to go.
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
Sure avoids a lot of chaos.
Yep.
You know, and so if it's you and your wife and your kids, and if everybody can get on the same page and have everything in order and everything in its place, you could be to church on time.
That's exactly right.
I worked that. Yeah. But really, it's the truth.
But it's important. You know, like obviously there's an efficiency that's there.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't have to go crazy. There was an article in the Manual of the Patriotic Volunteer on Active Service in Regular and Irregular War. That's pretty long. This is from 1855. Okay. this is what it says. It's specifically talking about soldiers, military, right?
Yes.
It says, soldiers of every grade must especially avoid slovenliness. So that's like being dirty and disorganized, right? They must bear in mind the proverb, a place for everything and everything in its place. There it is. When a soldier can bring himself to be habitually exact in small things, he may be safely regarded as reliable in important matters. But he who is negligent over apparent trifles will find it difficult, if not impossible, to be punctual on occasions of the greatest moment. Right. And I love that for multiple reasons. But one of those, again, like this is about, war, right? And soldiers. Mm-hmm. If a soldier doesn't know where all of his stuff is, if he's not keeping it in place, how can he be relied upon to be where he needs to be when war breaks out? When the enemy is upon them, how can that person be trusted to be exactly where they need to be to have my back? Right? I can't trust that person's going to be there because that person's still trying to figure out where he laid his ammo, or he left his belt to his uniform. Right. And so now all of a sudden he's running to the front lines, in a
chaotic
tizzy,
right.
Yeah. And now you're like, I don't trust that your aim's going to be very good right now. Be on the other end of the foxhole.
So
that would be fantastic.
Your poor planning, in a sense, right? Your poor planning, it not only is going to possibly affect you, you might be affecting others. Yeah. And your lack of getting everything together. Yep. And your lack of being orderly, and your lack of everything in its place. Yep. Right. You possibly could be affecting, and when you look at the war and the soldiers, you got this one guy. Well, now you might be jeopardizing the lives of others because you couldn't get yourself together. Yeah.
And you and I, we've worked in ministry together for
too long. I mean,
well, it's probably been pushing 20 years together.
I think so.
I mean, close.
Is there a tissue? Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty close.
Yeah.
So we've done events, and we've had to plan things, all that different stuff. And we've dealt with individuals who did not plan things very well.
Right.
But then all of a sudden they come at you last minute in a tizzy because they're like, what about this, and this? Well, and we used to look at each other and be like, your poor planning is not my emergency.
It's the truth.
Yeah. But then all of a sudden, now it falls on us to have to go and fix X, Y, and Z. Well, because you didn't plan well, And I think, both of us, we've been in those situations before, where it's because somebody was not orderly, whether it's a time management issue or whatever, because they weren't orderly in their life and in that specific project or event or whatever it is. Now, all of a sudden, like you're saying, it just makes it difficult for everybody else.
Right. And then there's times, when you're speaking of like a project or an event or things like that, it may be your name. Like everyone knows, oh, Derrick is the head. He's heading this up. Yeah. So when things aren't done well and right and in order further back, they never see the guy who didn't do it right. Yeah. They didn't see the guy who couldn't manage his time well. Right. Of why this is a blunder. They're looking at you.
Yeah, it's a reflection of you.
Yeah. Hey, no. I can mess this up on my own. I don't need your help. Right? Exactly. But so this guy's poor planning, or this guy can't get his life together to get these things accomplished for this event or for this cause, in turn makes
me look bad.
You look bad, and now it's your problem.
Yep. Yeah. And you know what? I think that's a great point too. And we can tie that spiritually as well. If my life is not in order, that's a poor reflection on the God I claim to serve.
Right.
That's me being a bad testimony. It's me being a bad witness, because my life is chaotic. Yeah. And so that's where, again, I think there's a practical importance of having your life in order, having, a place for everything and everything in its place, managing our time well, thinking ahead, planning, organizing things properly, so that we can be efficient. Sure. Right. So we're not wasting time. Okay. But also so that we can be punctual, right? So that we can be punctual on occasions of the greatest moment, we can be reliable in important matters,
That's a great statement.
It really is.
Be punctual on occasions at the greatest moment.
Yeah.
Like
when I need you the most, I need you to be there.
I need you there.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think we see, a similar concept, in Scripture with the parable of the tenants, right? These are the guys who, the manager's leaving and he turns it over to the tenants and says, all right, I'm going to give you this, I'm going to give you this, I'm going to give you this. And it's their responsibility to take care of those things, right? And so, the one who gets, a little bit doesn't do well, that ends up getting taken from him and given to somebody else, right?
Right.
And it's this idea that if I can be faithful in the small things, then I can be trusted to be faithful and dependable in the large things, right? And yeah, I think that passage specifically is talking about stewardship, but being orderly is part of being a good steward, right?
It all ties together. It all goes together.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I think this is where too, just in practical life, let's take a company or a business, wherever it is, a job. All right. If you go in and you're just now starting, if you can show yourself to be dependable, right? So like we've got a guy here at camp who has a part-time job, right? He started off just as a grunt guy, basically.
The brawn.
As
I told him yesterday.
Yeah. He is the brawn.
He is. He's a monster.
But he's proven himself in the little things that he can be orderly,
reliable,
that he can be punctual, that he can be reliable, that he can be, dependable, like all those different things. And slowly but surely, he's gotten raises. Now he's been promoted to like a captain of teams.
Junior captain.
Yeah, I call him Cap'n now.
Cap Junior.
But what is that?
Yeah,
that's being faithful and orderly in the small things. Now he can be relied upon to be orderly and faithful in larger things, and not only just handling those things, but now being able to manage a team of people.
Right. That's putting your keys and your shoes out the night before.
That's exactly
right.
Yep.
I mean, being funny, but that's what that is.
Yeah.
That's thinking, planning ahead.
Yep.
And getting your stuff together.
That's exactly right.
I'm hoping through all of this that like one of the higher ups from McDonald's is possibly watching, and maybe we can help them get order to their chaos. Yeah.
Well, they used to. I think
they used to. Yeah, but they could use our help. I think.
I would agree.
But what a great, just a simple but great concept.
Yep.
Of just, hey, let's get ourselves together.
Yep.
Get our things together.
Yep.
Whether it be large or small, and like I don't think our buddy when he started this job thought, let me do great at these small things so that I could be even greater at large things or be trusted with large things. I don't think that's the mind. I don't think that was like the original mindset.
Right.
But by the way he just operates and the way he does his life, it just pays off. For him. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Does that make sense? Like,
I agree.
Go into, let me do great at this little thing so I can do bigger, better things.
Well, and you're right, because again, like because he lives here, like sometimes I inspect, the apartments where they stay.
Goodness gracious.
But you see that same principle when you open that door to see his apartment.
Oh yeah, I've been down there. Yeah.
Yeah.
One time I was, I think we had a lull in between something going on. So I had like several hours. I had nothing. He's like, you can come down and, we'll visit. You can hang out in at my apartment or my room. I said, okay. And he says, well, I got to go down and clean up first because guests are coming. But you go down there and it is everything in its place.
Yep.
Right.
Yep. Everything's in its place.
Oh my word. Yeah.
And it's clean. It's put together. It's orderly.
Yes.
But again, that's just a reflection of the individual. And then that same principle and the way that he lives his life privately, now is put in place publicly, and then it's recognized. You know what I mean? And so that, again, a testament to him.
Yeah.
Way to go, buddy.
I say a testament to a parent too.
Oh, for sure. To raise them like that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
exactly. Because
the things that we can control, then I think it is in our responsibility as believers, in particular,
to control.
To control them and to put the things that we can control in order, right? And to maintain order in those things and to manage our households well, right? But you can't always control all of the chaos,
right?
Because there are things that are just simply outside of your control and that are not your doing, right? So like let's take something like a health issue, right? All of a sudden you get a phone call and you've got cancer or whatever it is. You can't control that, but now it's created at least a degree of chaos in your life, right? So now what do? Like I'm supposed to manage my house. I'm supposed to, do everything decently and in order. I'm supposed to be a reflection of the God of order by making sure I am living an orderly life.
Right.
Well, now what do I do? Because now I've got this chaos in my life that I can't do anything about. I can't control this. I can't get rid of it. So now what do I do? Right? I think one of the things that we have to think about is, first of all, making sure that we're putting into order the things that we can control. But for the things that we can't control, number one, like, just don't add to the chaos. If it's already chaotic, don't add to it.
Right.
Like, let's take that health situation, in particular. There are people who, when they get bad news, whether it's a health issue, whether it's a family issue, whether maybe your parents got divorced, or maybe as a husband and wife, you divorced from your spouse, or like whatever, right? It's really easy for us to maybe give up.
Sure.
And be like, you know what, just forget it. It's over. And kind of like what we referred to earlier, as we were talking, was when I don't do anything, chaos naturally is going to come about because of sin, right?
Yeah, you let that chaos take over.
You let that chaos take over, right? Because you're choosing not to do anything, right? And so essentially what you're doing is you're adding to the chaos by not doing anything. And sometimes, let's take something like divorce or like family conflict, relational conflict. Well, many times we add to the chaos by feeding the fire.
Yeah.
Yep. By saying things that we shouldn't say, or to people that we shouldn't be saying things to, right? Or maintaining a heart of bitterness, and not learning how to forgive, like whatever it might be. Like, we add to the chaos by constantly just
fanning the flame.
Yeah. We constantly do that.
Right.
So if chaos is introduced into your life, right, indirectly, stuff that you can't control, well, then first of all, just don't add to the chaos.
Right. Yeah.
But again, because of our sin, that's like our natural inclination.
Yeah, because we're all got a little want to see a train wreck. We do.
Misery loves company.
We do.
Kind of a thing,
we
right?
all have that little bit of, man, if I could just help this little train wreck here for a minute, because I'm really wanting to see.
Let me just speed the train up.
Yeah. Right. We have that. And I think that's our sin nature, but sometimes it's just our nature.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. Get it under control. Don't feed that fire.
Yep.
Don't fan the flame.
Yep.
And I'm thinking, too, while you were speaking, like when that chaos enters your life, whatever it is, pick which one you want.
Right.
When that enters our life, if we could just train ourselves to stop for just a second. I don't want to say consider because that'd be cheesy, but stop and consider. No, but stop and think, all right, is there anything I can control in this situation? Right? Okay. I've thought through it. No, there's nothing I can do to control this situation. Okay. I'm not going to feed this situation.
Right.
Next, what do I do in this situation?
Yeah.
Okay. For one, I need to stop and remember that the Lord is in control of this chaotic situation that I have no control over, right?
Yep.
He is going to give me what it takes to see me through this chaotic situation, which this is also easy to sit here and talk about. It is. It's easy to sit and talk about.
Yep.
But when you're going through it, it's not as easy. But remember that he's going to give me what it takes to get through that situation.
Yeah.
And keep in mind that he's going to take me through that situation, and then that there will at some point, sometime, be order at the end.
Yeah.
Right. Boy, that was easy to say that. But that, if we could train our minds for that, that when that chaos enters, that there's nothing we can do about. Hey, let's step back. Let's stop and step back and look at these things.
Yep.
Hey, I can't do anything about it, but I know I can do this,
right,
and this and this and this.
Right. And you're right. So often that's easier said than done. I get that. But I think if we would begin to implement those things in our life now,
before the chaos arrives,
it's a whole lot easier to not only remember them, but to maintain them when the chaos comes. Yeah. So something else I think, when we're looking at the chaos that comes to our lives that we can't control, right? It's okay. And this is going to be true with just about anything that comes in, right?
Okay.
When that chaos comes in, I can't control it in its entirety. But that chaos creates new things in my life that now I have to think through and evaluate, right?
Right.
So then, all right, if I can evaluate those things, and then I start to put into order the things I can control, okay? What's going to happen is, just like we were talking about before, beauty in order is very calming, right?
Right.
So now if I can start putting these things that I can control in order, whether before chaos comes or in the midst of chaos, it actually can make that chaos more calm.
Yes.
Yes. So now, because anytime chaos comes, you're going to have a spike in anxiety, stress, those kind of things. Eating. Which, I mean, if you think about it, the last episode, Consider the Ravens.
Yeah.
It was all about anxiety and stress and depression and those types of things, right? Because so often we worry about things that we can't control. And that's where the bulk of our anxiety comes from, is from things that we can't do anything about. And so we worry about them, right? The what if kind of stuff. Well, here we're talking about something very, very similar. I can't always control all the chaos. But the things that I can control, that are in my power to control, let me put those in order.
Sure.
And if I can put those things in order, then my level of anxiety, my levels of stress,
and maybe the level of chaos,
and the level of chaos starts to calm itself, so that I can actually endure and persevere through whatever it is, that has come in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And then believing, just like anything else that we've talked about in the past, eventually it's going to pass. That chaos isn't going to last forever, right?
Right.
We're always going to deal with tension, yes, of chaos, but let's take that specific situation that has come in. Well, that specific situation, that chaotic moment, is eventually going to pass, right? And so we've got the hope that that's going to pass, but then we also have that ultimate hope that there's going to come a day when God's going to make all things new.
There is.
Right? And I can hope in that on a regular basis. In a world that's always on the go, and in a world that seems to be always chaotic,
right?
Stop and consider the fact that we serve a God of order, right? And that we can trust Him, right? That we can follow Him. He's going to sustain us and help us through the chaos of life, the tension that's always there. But then the things that He allows us and puts in our hands to take care of and to steward and to control, then let's have an orderly life.
Yeah.
Let's put things in our life in order. Let's put our house in order, so that, number one, and most importantly, we're a true and a good reflection of the God that we claim to serve, who is a God of order. Let us put our house in order so that we can be a good testament and a witness for Him, right? But then let's also walk through all that as a light that's shining in the midst of that chaos, right? Because our lives are orderly,
right?
It kind of goes back to, letting our light shine so people will see our good works and give glory to our Father who is in heaven. If we're living lives that are orderly, even in the midst of chaos, that's a witness for Him, and that's a light that we're shining on a regular basis. So in a world that's always on the go, in a world that's always chaotic, consider our God of order.
Yes.